Hey ladies, it's me, Rachel L. Proctor, your business mentor here in the Emerge Online Mastermind. And I am excited to introduce somebody who is very dear to me and who I know is going to rock your socks as it pertains to this month's Mastermind Masterclass topic. And she's going to be talking a lot about something that I know that as entrepreneurs, as people that are creators and just seeking to do something better in the world, something that we all struggle with from some point or another, and that is discipline. I'm so excited to actually introduce my good friend, Dr. Kimberly Ellison, the Kingdom Boss Chick herself. She is coming to talk to you. We're going to have some dialogue, some real honest dialogue, and true to Dr. Kimberly Ellison style, she is going to give you some actionable steps because, I mean, we don't want to host these things and give you this content for you to get inspired, but then you log off and you don't know what the first steps are that you need to take. So we want to make sure, and she is going to make sure that you have some actionable steps to be able to take if you have ever struggled with self-discipline, self-mastery, all of those things in terms of just mindset. I won't get too far ahead of myself. I'm going to hurry up and introduce her so we can get into this because I'm just excited. I get excited about stuff like this. So Dr. Ellison, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Oh my goodness, Rachel, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. Hey, Emerge Masterclass. It's going to be amazing. Thank you all for joining in. Again, I'm excited that Rachel is inviting me to take you all on this journey. Rachel is one of my favorite people in the world, and she already knows. So I already know how y'all get down, because if y'all are following Rachel in any type of leadership, business, or ministry, you already know that she's the real deal. So thank you, Rachel.
Yes. So let's just talk a little bit about, and let me see, I'm gonna have to adjust my camera. I'm gonna have to put it back in the, okay, so y'all see my, I didn't want to do too much, but I just wanted to let y'all know because I'm sitting here looking in your background and I see something that, what do they say? I spy my Kingdom Boss Chick shirt, that Kingdom Boss Chick pillow. Oh, that pillow is the bomb. Okay, so Kingdom Boss Chick. So you and I go way back. And when I say way back, probably not, decades, but it feels like we have been friends forever because we just literally connected so much in the spirit and with a lot of the things that we did in terms of destiny. I felt like we've known each other forever. And so the Kingdom Boss Chick movement is something that you started, something that you are, promoting is not the word I'm looking for, but something that you are, it's a movement that you created. Talk about the Kingdom Boss Chick mindset. Like, what is that about?
Okay, so first of all, Kingdom Boss Chick is amazing. It came in a time where everybody was talking about being a boss and being a boss chick. And when I actually was able to receive this, this concept around Kingdom Boss Chick, it was helping women, business owners, translate kingdom principles into practical solutions. And how do you live a life of destiny, promise, and purpose in your personal, professional, and spiritual areas of your life? So it's really taking those biblical principles, applying them in a practical situation that can help you be successful and sustainable without compromising your Christian character and integrity. Because truth be told, there are a lot of platforms where we can compromise who we are as believers and our true DNA. But when you think about a Kingdom Boss Chick, there's some standards that come with that. And so it's really a movement for women to be true to their authentic self, but yet knowing that what they carry on the inside is a little different. And so you can't be just like everybody else. So the Kingdom Boss Chick has a little bit more of a standard about herself. She knows the oil that she carries is a lot more distinct than the natural person who says, I'm a boss. And so boss actually stands for, from a kingdom perspective, is your belief, your obedience, your spirit, and your sacrifice. So you're a Kingdom Boss Chick.
Wow. You could have ended it right there. And we would have walked away with some amazing nuggets. And so we have been together on your Kingdom Boss Chick, your Corporate Jewel tour. Tell us a little bit about that, because I think that when, especially a lot of the women that are here in the mastermind, they're wanting to do that. They're wanting to create movements because they know that they have a purpose. They know that there's something different and distinct about what God has called them to do. but a lot of times they just don't really know, or maybe they've never seen what they're trying to do modeled. And I know that one of the things that a lot of them aspire to do, and we had Ebony King talking last month about live events and how to host your hosting live events and things of that nature. And she gave us plenty of more nuggets than that. But just talk a little bit about that too. With the tour that you did, I know it didn't happen on its own. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't happen without, like you said, that sacrifice. So talk a little bit, just a little bit, then I'm gonna let you get into your slides and all of the stuff that you came to talk about. But talk a little bit about that. Tell us first what it was, and kind of what we did, some of the cities we visited, but then kind of tell us a little bit about how your self-discipline and some of the things you're going to talk about, how that played into just that whole vision that you created.
Sure. I always think when you've been given something, vision is established from purpose. And so when you have been given a vision, it's established from God's purpose for you. It's a unilateral covenant that God gives only to you to carry out a particular mission, or to impact a mission, but carry out his particular vision. So when Kingdom Boss Chick or the Corporate Jewel Tour actually started off as a Corporate Jewel University, for 2 years we did courses where women would come from professional environments, and we would actually align them with their personal, professional, spiritual growth, and we would give them corporate strategies on how to climb the corporate ladder and how to manifest in their business without compromise. And so in that, women would say, we want more, we want more. So in 2015, Rachel, in the Merge class, listen, we did a actual Corporate for Kingdom conference. And we did that in 2015, and I was nervous, I was afraid, because we all know we don't mix church and state. That's the thing. But when you kingdom, you vibe differently. So you have to understand the authority, but you don't have to abide by that particular thing. Because for me, my whole life is kingdom. So even when you're in corporate America. So we did the tour, we did the conference, and it was about 121 women that showed up at that conference. And from there, it's executives, it was leaders, entry level, customer service, retail, all the way to the corporate C-suite. And the team really said, let's go on tour. We had been talking about a tour for a while, but it was never the time. I actually was sitting at work in my office and literally got the vision of, we will hit these cities. I made a call that day and said, here's the vision, Geneva. She was in DC. Here's the vision, Heather. She was in DeSoto. Listen, we have to go on tour. Let's meet. This is what I'm getting. But let me share with you, your vision does not come without discipline. Whenever God gives a vision, he always gives not just provision, but he gives a process to actually accomplish the purpose that he's called you to live out. And so in that, I was able to identify a full strategy on what that looks like, who's going to be a part of the vision, and what cities are we going to take part in, and writing down the practical things, Rachel. But in that, you have to have destiny partners who were willing to come alongside you. And then we also had to have brand ambassadors. But when you talk about this tour, y'all, we hit, for the sake of time, we hit 11 cities, 9 states, and 3 countries in 18 months.
Wow.
And we did all of that with no corporate sponsor. Rachel was one of our speakers. She was our tail, as you would call it online. But she actually was, anchored us in every time. She started out doing amazing. I'm talking about just bringing the pain y'all to everybody. But it was 7 women who traveled and spoke. We went to these cities, and it was always a fight. Every city had its own set of challenges, and every city had its own set of rules. And so you had to adjust your strategy based on where you were going. But what never adjusted was the vision. The vision remained the same, but the strategy had to change. So that means your discipline had to increase in order for you to produce what you saw in your dreams. And so self-discipline is a system. You either have it or you don't. And whatever you do, if you don't have it, that's your system of self-discipline. So, and if you do have it, you need to have a healthier system of self-discipline. And so with that, we were able to move through, not without challenge, but we also stayed true to what God's promise and purpose was for us. We completed it. People still ask us, are we going on tour to this day? And so I've been actually praying about, what does this look like? And how is it this time? And what does that structure look like? Because it takes discipline, it takes dollars, and it takes people who are truly not just aligned with your vision, but God has already given them a vision, and they have to be able to carry what he's given them alongside of you. So it was amazing. Yeah.
Wow, DDP, discipline, dollars, and people.
Come on.
Wow, wow, wow. So I'm gonna let you get into that's so incredible. And I'm excited for you to get into this in terms of just like I said, just talking about the discipline and the things. And it was just an honor to go alongside you because even during that time, I learned so much about myself in terms of leadership, in terms of vision, in terms of creating strategy. Because so many times, like there have been so many times where God has told me to do a thing, or I thought God was telling me to do a thing, but I underestimated what it was going to take to actually carry that out. I thought that just because God told me to do it, that's all I needed. Oh, I just need word. You know, we're getting these cliches and we say, oh, I got a word from God. And that is just supposed to manifest. But the Holy Spirit is not going to do the work for you. No. It can give you the strategy, but there are things that you have to do physically, tangibly, monetarily. Like you said, you talked about the sacrifice. God can give you the end vision, but it's that time from the time you get the vision to the manifestation of the vision. That's where you have to show God that you trust the word that he gave you by walking out those steps and those strategies that he gives you. He's not just going to take you and give you there. We talk about that all the time. Bishop says that he said, you're asking God for paper, or you asking God for a chair, and God is saying, I gave you a tree.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? Like we want God to give us the end result, but God is saying, I gave you the tools and the resources that you need for you to be able to create those things. And so I think that in terms of like entrepreneurship, business women, creators, even if you're in the nonprofit sector, or even if you're in corporate America, Dr. Ellison, you really showed women in corporate America, again, just another way to be successful, because sometimes when you think of corporate America, it is cutthroat. You know, people are putting other people down and doing things behind the scenes to try to get a leg up and to try to move up the corporate ladder. But you really show women in corporate America that there is another way to be successful in these different types of arenas. So no matter what type of arena that you find yourself in, God can give you the strategy, but it takes discipline, it takes sacrifice, it just takes flat out, sometimes hard work to do the things that God has called you to do. And I'm not going to get too much into that because now I feel my help coming on. So I'm going to
bring this on because I'm going to bring these slides up, but I do want to share that for you all that are listening, vision never comes without strategy, and vision never comes without process. And whenever God gives you a vision, vision shows you a glimpse of your future. It does not show you the process and how to get there. And so that is where we get excited, and I always say, it's execution over excitement, because once you move past the excitement, that's when your system of self-discipline has to kick in. And if you do not have a system or a healthy system of self-discipline, you will think that the vision that God has given you is not really what he's called you to do. And so the challenge is, when we think about discipline, it is, am I disciplined enough to produce the vision? And I say, yes, Rachel, and those of you who are on the Emerge Masterclass or Emerge Live, because when you do get a vision, God says, I've not just trusted you, but I've entrusted you with this vision. And so you have the discipline to produce it, but you're going to have to tap into your process. And in order to do that, in order to see yourself in the future, I tell the women in my Discipline to Produce intensive that the goal is to see yourself in the future, to introduce who you are to who you see in your vision. And so the goal is, you are now in this current state, but it's to create a discipline and a strategy that's going to help you shake hands with the woman that you see yourself as in your future. And so I always say, you want to be able to maneuver in such a way that everything that you're doing in your system of self-discipline should look like that woman you see in your dreams. And that's pretty much when we talk about it. So I don't know, Rachel, do you want me to rock and roll on through, or do you want to?
Yeah, go ahead, rock, keep flowing. Yeah, go on.
Okay, well, we can rock and roll, because now I'm in the vein of what I love to do. And so I have a few slides that I wanted to share with you ladies, because some people are audio, some people are visual, but are learners and kinesthetic. But I want to share with you a little bit about, when you talk about the discipline to produce, I call it, it's a 10-day intensive. This thing used to be 30 days. And I remember when the Lord says, he took me to the book of Daniel, and I began to read the book of Daniel. And as you all know, people think about Daniel and think about his diet. But when I think about Daniel, I think about his discipline. And I think about his system of discipline. If you read Daniel 1 and 2, you will actually see that his discipline actually put him in a place where he was actually promoted, and he was actually became a leader. And not only did he get promoted, but the 3 Hebrew boys also got promoted because their level of discipline. And so there's power in your system of self-discipline. And what is that? Self-discipline is about, look, stop that starting and stopping. Some of us struggle with the spirit of start and stop. We are challenged. We want to start something. We are excited about it. We call ourselves serial entrepreneurs, and you start something and stop something. That is a spirit of start and stop. That means you have the inability to produce a thing to its full manifestation. So therefore, you may abort your seed, you may terminate your seed, or you may delay it because you have not yet mastered a system of discipline that's going to help you produce at the next level in your future. And so discipline is about no more watching people from the sidelines and saying, oh, I wish I had a class like Rachel, or I wish I could do this like another person in ministry or in business. It's about creating a strategy and a system that's going to help you produce at a greater level and introduce yourself to the best version of you. So ladies, no more procrastinating on your future. You no longer have an option to sit out on the sidelines. In your business, everything about your business has to do with your self-discipline. If you're looking for a crop and your harvest is not right, it's because what you put in has not yet produced, and that means it don't look like what you put in don't look like what's been produced. And so your system of discipline is about not always looking to feel excited, because you'll never always be motivated, but you will have to be disciplined. Rachel, no matter what we do, we have to learn to be disciplined. We have to practice discipline. It's not about, let me write this plan down and I'm gonna do this today and tomorrow. It's about when he gave you that unilateral covenant to start that business. And unilateral covenant is when God gives it to you and you only. And he has designed you for it. He's created you for it. No matter how many other people are doing it, he's giving you this particular agreement and assignment. You don't even have nothing to do with it. So how is it that when you have a vision or a business, or you want to start, you want to be an MUA, or you want to own a online, store, or you want to do these particular things, but yet you start and stop?
Wow.
You see, if you say this is what you were designed to do and you were created to do it, then how is it that you have the ability to put it down?
Wow.
So what I really want to start out by saying as well, your vision is not a goal. Your goal are the things that help lead you to your vision. And if we treat our vision like a goal, then you will think that you have the capacity and the capability to just put it down whenever you feel like it.
Wow, that's good.
And so when you think about self-discipline is a system. It is your power. And you have the ability to systematically and progressively achieve a goal without giving up. And that's what that looks like. Self-discipline is a system. I want you to start thinking of it as a system, and how a system only operates based on what you put in it and how you identify its unique ability to produce the outcome. It is your ability to systematically, that means consistently. And we struggle with the area of self-discipline because there are things in our life that just pull us off, and like distractions. There are distractions coming from people, places, and things.
Yeah.
All right. And I want to share with you, when you think about self-discipline, we actually give excuses. Like we always give ourselves excuses not to do what we've been chosen to do, called to do, or even for those who are more practical and less religious and spiritual, if you have an aspiration, it's easy for us to come up with a reason why we're not doing it.
Yeah.
But people who are self-disciplined says, I give myself true joy experience in my full life. Because it's not about what you're keeping yourself from, it's what you're limiting yourself to in order to produce what's ahead of you.
That's good.
And so it's not about keeping yourself from your friends or keeping yourself away from having a good time. It's about, I'm creating limitations around my future because I know what I look like. I know what's ahead of me. And so I'm only going to feed myself and my system the things that look like what's in front of me. Your self-discipline creates opportunities to see yourself as successful and to become successful. It creates a true sense of purpose because, as we all know, you can't have a system of self-discipline if it's not tied to your vision.
What, now, hold on. I want you, Dr. Ellison, you giving us a whole lot. You said something that was so key in terms of, and it struck with me. You're feeding yourself that, say that again. You said you're feeding yourself only things that look like where you're headed.
That's it. So your system, it's almost like a vehicle. So if you are driving an engine that requires 93 and above fuel, and yet in order to max its performance level, you only can put 93 and above. And every time you go fill up at the gas station, you put in 89.
Wow.
It's only going to produce at the level which you put in it. And so now when you put in 89, you're actually messing up its capacity, its capability to perform at the highest level in which it was created to do. So when you have a vision in front of you and you lack the system that it requires, that means you're putting in things that don't look like the business. You're putting in Netflix and you're at 100% of the time. And
wow.
You're putting in happy hours 100% of the time. And you're putting in naps. And you're putting in your family every time something happens. You're Captain Save Everybody. And you're putting in your children and your husband goals and your boyfriend goals. And you're putting all of that in your system. You are not going to perform at your highest and best and your capacity to produce what you see in your future, because you haven't created the actual limitations and barriers around your destiny. And so what you actually put in your system is what you're going to produce.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to say other than okay.
You're gonna look like that. Many of us, we see excuses as obstacles, and our obstacles need to be opportunities for growth. We feel like we don't have the resources, and when we don't have the resources, we throw self-discipline, self-confidence, everything out the window. Here is the deal: when you have a vision, your vision didn't say, I would give you everything at once. It says God will give you every single thing that you need. And so that means everything that you already have, you have the capability and you have the capacity to produce it. Here is the deal: we start to be led by our emotions and our feelings. We start looking at what we don't have and comparing ourselves to other people. That's an unhealthy system of self-discipline. And then we're not time conscious. What you doing with your time?
Yeah.
Like,
Talk about that. Because I think people struggle with, because time is intangible. It's not and time is really the most valuable asset that we have, especially as entrepreneurs. It is the most valuable asset because you can get more money, you can get more shoes, you can get more this, you can even get more of that, but you can never get more time. And so can you just help, maybe put a pin right there just for a second and help us understand the importance of your time. Like that is and people think, and I've gotten so much like a ninja with like not wasting time with people and things, and like you said, watching a bunch of TV and all of this. And I'm not saying you can't watch TV. We're not trying to, whatever you want to do is whatever you want to do, but just know that if that's what you want to do, then like you said, whatever you're putting in is what you're going to get out. And I always say, if a lot of the stuff that is manifesting itself in your life is looking like a lot of the reality TV shows that you're, and all of the drama and all of that, then let's just be serious and truthful with ourselves about what are we really putting in and how we really spending our time. So can you just talk a little bit? I don't want you to rush past that, because that's like the biggest thing that I struggle with getting people to understand. And I'm not saying that I've mastered it and that anybody has mastered it, but help us and just reinforce that for us, because it's serving as a reminder for me as well that I'm on the right track with that. Because if you are wasting your time, like, I'm sorry, it's just you're just not going to get there, not in the time that you could get there if you would have maximized the time that you have. Because we always say, oh, it's not enough time in the day. Well, the only level playing field we have in life is time. Oprah gets 24 hours a day. Beyonce gets 24 hours a day. everybody. So that's actually the oldest trick in the book to use as an excuse as to why you have not achieved your goals. So can you just stop just right there, work right there.
First of all, we're gonna put a pin right here, because when we think about time, we always think we have it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because we can't see time. People say, oh, you can't see time in touch, like you can't feel it, right? But here's the deal. Time, you either invest it or you spend it. And it's your most valuable commodity, the highest commodity that you have, an asset that you have. When you are investing your time, that means there's always a return. When you spend your time, that means there is little to no. And so you always want to think in terms of your leisure as, am I investing my time for something that's greater and leading me to my purpose and leading me to accomplish my business and my vision? Or am I spending it here and it's delaying me or distracting me? So that's one way you can take a look at it. And it's very plain and simple. Spending or investing your time. And you have to begin to value your time beyond all else. Because when you determine your time and you value your time, other people will begin. Let me give you a point of personal inquiry here. People will not call me at a certain time of day because they know that I'm doing certain things. So, and that's because I've established that as a part of my day-to-day actions. That's because I've actually lived that. See, many of us will talk and share, but we don't, I don't answer my phone. If I know that I'm building out content or I'm working on something, I don't answer, if it's an emergency, we have something now that you'll text and say, hey, pick up, call me, whatever it is. But your time is one of the things that you definitely have to begin to put some barriers around, because you think you always have it. But let me tell you something, preparation breeds confidence. When you are prepared, and the only way you can be prepared is if you spend time on your business, you spend time on your vision. And so many of us, I'll read this, this by Bob Proctor. He says,
that's my cousin. You didn't know that?
Maybe Jim Rohn, but it's, your goals are in the present. You're not in the future. What'd you say?
I said, that's my cousin. You didn't
know?
That's
her cousin. Yeah, that's Bob Proctor. That's Rachel Proctor's cousin.
He's not actually my cousin, y'all. I'm just
He says, your goals are in the present, not in the future. There is no future. That's an illusion.
Wow.
Your goals are today. You don't even work on them in the future. You work on them now. Wow. And so when you put it in terms of, ain't no future, this is the future. Yeah. Your everyday, right, what you do in your time actually is everything you're doing to build and look like your future. So whatever you're doing today impacts your future. You are future. And so we want to think about that. And I have more on time as we move forward, but you need to start seeing your success as a priority and not an option. Too many times we give ourselves the option to not accomplish our goals and to not operate as business professionals and business owners. And we start to compromise because of our own consciousness. And we lack the ability to see ourselves like our future. First of all, because we don't have a system of self-discipline that says, I look like that.
Yeah.
You know, when you put systems in place, you can start to see yourself in a greater way. And so when you think about, you know, your greatest cause of failure is how you see things. Because oftentimes people will say, oh, I work on stuff on the weekend, or I work on this, and your perspective and your perception is flawed. So as you are looking at this screen and Rachel's looking at it here, what do you all see? What do you see, Rachel?
Well, I thought I saw like an optical illusion of like where they maybe like superimposed the head of a zebra on the back of a zebra. But now that I'm sitting here and I'm giving myself time to focus on it, I see that it is now two zebras that are side by side.
Exactly, because when you look, you would think it has some type of deformity, or this is going to be some type of Guinness World Book, you know, record where these zebras is like one they had this birth problem. Yeah, but when you look at it, it is two zebras that are just passing each other and they're eating. But check this out: many people will look at the same thing and see something different. You have to look at your system of self-discipline in a way that it looks like what you see. You'll never stop telling me, I'll never stop telling you to look like your future. You'll hear me say that throughout, because the only way you can become the business owner, everybody want to make 6 figures, but can you create a system of self-discipline that produces 6 figures? Everybody want to make 7 figures. Can you produce a system of self-discipline that can produce $100, $1,000, and then move up? Because if you are not disciplined today, and I shared this morning, I said, about 3 or 4 days ago, everybody's life was, people's going to work, and now all of a sudden, everybody's, oh, we got to do this, we got to create. But if you didn't have discipline 3 days ago, your discipline is going to last about 2 or 3 days a week, at the most.
At the most, yeah.
At the most. And so when you think about that, it's all about how you see it. And I want to talk about, Rachel was actually jumping in on the presentation. About time, because I knew what was ahead. But the top 3 things that impact your discipline, when we think about that, is our belief, our time, and our level of commitment. And since I've done this one, number 4 is fear. And so when we think about our belief, and I want to say this, Rachel, our belief system impacts every single thing that we do. And as a business owner, this is the most critical thing that you need to protect, because your belief actually starts in your mind, which is a part of your soul, which is actually a part of who you are. We're triune beings. And when your belief system is impacted by your experiences, by how, your environment. And when you are impacted in your belief, it now affects everything you do with your time. It affects your level of commitment, and it causes immense fear, which overall affects your level of self-discipline. Your belief system tells you who you are, what you're capable of doing, and what you're not capable of doing. And if you don't believe in your business plan, or you don't believe in your business strategy, or you don't believe that you can look like your future, then your self-discipline is already kind of off kilter, because your belief is going to drive every single thing. We talk about affirmations. We talk about self-affirming. I always say, listen, y'all, I'm telling y'all, I don't ever go into classes looking for friends, because I don't carry that mantle. I carry a mantle that comes and brings people structure, order, and correction, and also love and practical strategies to produce on purpose. When you think about your belief system, you need to understand your childhood affects your belief, your relationships affect your belief, how you see yourself in the mirror affects your belief, your confidence is affected by your belief. Everything is driven by your belief. And that is why the Word of God tells us to guard our hearts and our minds, because our belief system impacts how we see ourselves. That will impact how you show up every day.
Yeah.
Time. Listen, I could tell you, if I could tell you the number of clients that I had, I don't have the time. I don't have the time. Well, how is it that we make time for everything else, but you said that the Lord told you to start this business?
Yeah.
You said that you want to have this company and own this particular building, and but you don't want to give it no time. And so when you think about time is something, people don't rob you of it, you give it away.
Yeah.
People say, oh man, they stole my time, man. No, they didn't rob you, because when you start to, when you walk in a meeting and people late, you be like, listen, I got 10 minutes.
Yeah. How about that? Oh, how about that?
And then people walk in a fence, but you cannot walk in a fence, because I am not going to allow you. Now, if you have flex and you got your action plan for what you're doing for the day, and you got all that, and you have a little flex, that's on you. But when it comes to fighting for your destiny and fighting for what He's given you to do, then I can't allow you to mismanage and mishandle my time. And that's what we do. We mismanage, and then we allow people to mishandle our time. See, the Word of God says, commit your plans unto the Lord, and He shall establish them. And when you think about your planning, that means planning means your time, because planning says, this is what I'm going to do. So when you say, Lord, this is how I'm going to commit my time and commit to, then how is He going to establish anything for you? Planning is biblical. So that means your time is important. When you talk about kairos and chronos, that is time. Those are the things that affect your discipline. Commitment. No, I love it. Commitment is doing what you said you would do. Ladies, long after the feeling you said you do it in has left you. That is a quote. I don't know who created it, but I know that I have carried it into the earth over and over again. Because when you think about commitment, we lack commitment, y'all. We have the ability to clap back. We have the ability to cut people off, but we do not have staying power. At the first sign of, listen, when Rachel talked about that tour, I remember paying everything we had on that tour, and I had 27 cents in my bank account.
Listen, they don't want to talk about them days.
When you talk about commitment, I could have easily said, well, hey, Rachel, hey, Sephoria, hey, Katrina, hey, Pastor LaShonda, we're not going. No, boo. We going. And I'm going to drain everything we have. And we're going to make some concessions on what we need to do when we get there. And you're going to be committed to it. See, commitment is not saying, oh, I'm going to bail out. I don't feel like it no more. Listen, I do a lot of things I don't feel like doing. Listen. But if you have made a commitment to yourself and a commitment to your destiny, you got to show up even when you don't feel like it.
Because most of the time you will not feel like it. I don't know who is telling people, and maybe it's social media, because people don't show you all of that. People don't show you the bank account in the red.
I don't know who keeps telling these people this.
Who keeps telling people this? Because most of the time you don't feel like it.
Listen,
the majority of the time.
But that's why I tell people, you have to remember to give ourselves some grace. And I say that because we are triune, all right? And so we are flesh, we're soul, and spirit. And most of the time, your flesh is what's leading you if you are not in tune with being led by the spirit. Yeah. And if you are a believer, you are filled with the spirit, but not everybody's led by the spirit. And so you have to tell your flesh, you don't feel like it, but this destiny gonna feel like it.
Yeah.
And you gotta honor your destiny. You got to honor your vision by telling your flesh, you're going to sit down somewhere.
Yeah.
And you all got to learn to know that's the part of you that is not wanting you to do. I tell people all the time, your flesh will never feel like praying.
No.
Your flesh will never feel like writing content. Your flesh will never feel like spending your money on product when you could be spending it on something else. Your flesh never is going to agree with what it is that you should be doing. It's going to tell you what you want to do.
But you know what, Dr. Ellison, too, and I'm thinking about this, I think sometimes we really mess people up with a lot of this positivity movement. Oh, find the thing and go after the thing that pulls you out of the bed in the morning. That devil is a lie. Because it's some stuff that I know God has purposed for me to do, and it ain't yanking me out of the bed in the morning. As a matter of fact, it's making me want to pull the covers over my head, okay, and go back to sleep and say, if this cup can pass from me.
Yeah.
But I know without a doubt that it is the thing that God has called me to do. And I think that in this positivity movement, we've made people feel good with all of these catchy quotes and cliches about what purpose really should look and feel like. But my bishop says it all the time. Oh, baby, when you get to the success, it don't feel like success. Success does not feel like success when you get to true levels of success. And I think that that's what messes with a lot of people's just theology and a lot of people's emotions, and causes a lot of people to quit because they have this unrealistic expectation of what success will look and feel like when they achieve it, or when they start moving towards a place of success and destiny and purpose. And it does not look like that at all. I mean, we can look at, and I won't go too much into this, but I want to drop this right. When we look at the life of Joseph, we very much so, let me just say this and I'm going to give it back to you. A lot of the things that we are calling spiritual warfare and things that we are saying the enemy is fighting us with as it pertains to our destiny is really just prophetic process.
That's it.
It's just prophetic process. Look at the life of Joseph. Everything that he needed to get him to the place to where he was going to be the deliverer of his family looked the opposite of what we think in terms of him growing up and becoming successful. And a lot of stuff we're giving the devil credit for when it's really just the process. And you talk about this all the time about process. It's just prophetic process.
And and that is exactly what it is. It's this positivity movement. But let me share with all of us here is the fact that we are so used to looking at highlight reels.
Yes.
And we're in a dispensation of technology. And you know, and God speaks to us in different forms and all these different things, but at the same time, we have to utilize technology in this day and age, right? But technology shows us the most often the end, or it shows us what we want people to see. So therefore, we leave out the dirty work. We leave out, because it's not. I mean, think about it. People celebrate the least of these. I mean, the most people for the least of things.
Yeah.
They go out and celebrate people. You're like, child, and I literally, you have to look and know that if people are always successful, that there's an issue.
Okay.
And I say that being because people will always tell me, "Oh, I love your life." I'm like, you don't know nothing about my life, honey. You know about them flyers that we put up, but you don't know behind the scenes.
You don't know a thing
prayers
about
I'm praying. You don't know the warfare that I'm going on. You don't know me balancing my kids. You don't know me struggling to get home, crying, asking God, "Is this really what it is? Are you with me?" You don't know anything about the true process. What you see is a flyer of promotion of the end, because I'm telling you, behind the scenes is hard work. When you talk about being a business owner or an entrepreneur and hiring people and trying to establish, you know, people, where is this? You start a business and you make 6 figures in a month. That ain't never happened to me. Listen,
I don't know.
we have to start telling people the truth. And some business owners don't want to know what a profit and loss statement is. I have to tell you, I come from corporate. So for me, you talking about a P&L and you talking about net profits. All I know is gross and net on that check when it's, you know, when you get it. But when you are a business owner or you're moving in business, we don't spend enough time behind the scenes of our business. We focus on the cosmetics of our business instead of what the catalyst, what's going to actually push our business.
Yeah, the drivers.
We don't focus on those things. We only focus on cosmetically. And whenever I get clients, the number one thing, instead of them focusing on their system of discipline or how they're going to get to the next goal and accomplish it consistently, they start talking about who does your flyers, who does your graphics, who does, and I say, hold up, you're not even at graphics yet.
Yeah.
You know, and think about how we show up every day. These are, and I put here patterns. When we think about patterns and how we show up every day, this shows you how disciplined you are or not. And Rachel, when we talk about taking a look, I know for time's sake, when we talk about taking a look at discipline, instead of, I remember this is a methodology that I come up with, and it was in my spirit. I actually got this when I was probably asleep or something, and I got up and wrote it down. You know how it works when you're, you know, and in that it's called the power plan. And this is where, when we talk about working with our clients, everybody wants to jump on board to start working toward their business, their goal, their vision, their aspirations. But this is where the Lord took me as a self-discipline champion, as a consultant, and as just a daughter and a sister to others, to say, you need to learn the deal before you start talking about you have a healthy system of self-discipline. You need to deal with why you don't.
Yeah.
And we have to deal with, and if you go through this power plan, this is what I deal with first. We eradicate first. What's your daily practice? All right. Because how you show up every day will tell you what your problems are. It'll tell you what the distractions are. It'll tell you what pulls you away. Because I say this all the time, the game is not won on game day. The game is won in practice.
Yeah.
So how you show up every day for your business, your vision, your goals, your family, yourself, that's your practice. So when it's time to really produce, you already been doing it. And when you talk about the problem, your problem is those challenges. Why is it that you start and stop? Why is it you can't stay off social media? Why is it that you distracted? Why is it that you saved all this money for this LLC or to get your 501c3, but then when Pookie need it because they need something and you go give your money away, now here you are saving again. You know, no matter what it is, it identifies that. Your practice shows you where the problems are, where the gaps are in your system of self-discipline. Your purpose then is manifested in that. You have to reestablish, what does that look like for you? And then from there, you establish a plan, and then you produce. And so I break this down for my clients to let them know that when you practice, this is to carry out or perform habitually, regularly, the application of the idea, the belief, the method, whatever it is that you are trying to accomplish. It means you are practicing it every single day. You know, when you talk about, you know, you want to, some people say, well, I just want to be on this platform. I want to speak here. Are you speaking every day? Are you establishing it when you don't get the likes? Are you working when nobody sees you? Are you behind the scenes putting in the work? Because how you practice, people say, well, you know what, you always be, you know, listen, I've been looking how I'm looking since I was looking this way. And I'm saying that what I'm saying is people will, you won't ever catch me not looking like my future.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because I've introduced myself to myself over again. Let me break that down to you. My younger self, I've introduced her to my young adult self, and I was happy to meet her. My 20-year-old self, I'm introducing her to my 40-year-old self, and I'm in love with her. Not because of what I'm doing, but it's because of what the Lord has allowed me to get through, accomplish consistently, sustainably. And I've been able to see myself in the future and become that woman. I'll look at myself in the mirror and be like, dang, I used to want to be like the woman that I see right now.
Yeah.
Not knowing that every single day my practice was what the Lord was allowing me to regularly do to become her.
That's good.
And so your practice, if you don't look like your future, if you're practicing every day and it's off, like you ain't showing up, you hidden and missing, then you got a problem. Yeah. I'm not perfect. Rachel said it best. She says, this is reminded. Listen, y'all, self-discipline is a system. So that means you always have to check it. You always have to be in tune with what's causing you off, what is changing in this season. All right. And so to get through for sake of time, too, is your problem. That's the thing that is difficult to believe or accomplish. It's the actual application of some. Oh, I have a double one here. But when you think about this, your problem is those challenges, y'all. The challenges. This is the thing. When you think about your problem, is what is causing you to show up that way.
Yeah.
If you're, for example, relationships. Some people want to sleep. Oh. I'll never forget. I had people tell me, I like sleep. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
And it's a real problem. And so you start to now look and say, well, how is it that I check my practice with my problems? You go in and now correct your problems by showing up differently. Two is one is show you two. And two, you got to correct in order to move to three. So that is your reason, your why. And that means when you start to understand your why of your business, the why of your practice, how you show up and what you were created to do, you now can combat those problems differently, which will affect your practice daily. So you want to get to the point of your why so that you can look at them, the problems and show up differently, and you can practice that daily.
Yeah.
Daily. It's a fight. And then 4 is your plan. This is once you've established, here is why I show up this way. Here are some of the challenges I've had. But you know what? I'm going to have to correct them if I'm going to understand what I was created to do and walk that thing out. And then 4, let me put together a detailed proposal or a detailed plan on how I'm going to accomplish what God has given me to do. All right. Is this too much, Rachel? I'm sorry.
I'm just, look, you good. Keep on going. Child, we on your time today. Like, we on your time today. Give us all you got. Don't leave nothing.
Listen.
Don't leave nothing.
Listen. And
as long as you got time, we go.
Well, I'm telling you, because my heart is to get especially women in a place where we can eradicate some of the ways we show up daily. And your plan helps you produce your purpose. And see, a lot of people just want to walk in purpose. You can't walk out purpose without a plan.
Yeah.
Listen, God never gives you a purpose without a vision, and he never gives you vision without a strategy. So that means your vision has to have a plan of action.
Yeah.
And so what are you doing to accomplish it? This is where your goals come in play. This is where the methodical thing comes into play, your method of accomplishing it, right? And then number 5, you want to take a look at how are you producing a certain thing? You know, what is the cause that's happening, or how is it coming into existence? You want to make sure it's just like farming. You know, when you are producing something, it's about what are you putting in it. And so what are the things that you're producing from your plan that leads to your purpose, that you've eradicated your problems and you show up different in your practice daily? So if you move forward in dealing with each point in this power plan, it puts together a healthy system of self-discipline of showing you how you've shown up in the past. You now establish a new, healthier system, a healthier you, and now you produce from a different place.
Wow.
And so that's what I typically share. We go into a full practice. We go into how do we eradicate these systems? What are some things that are causing you to challenge yourself? Why is it that you lose interest? And what is your focus quotient? Because oftentimes self-discipline and focus work hand in hand. Your focus quotient is off. Many times we're interested and not committed. Because if you're interested in something, that means I'm toiling with the idea. I'm excited about it. But when you are committed to it, what did we say earlier? It's doing what you said you would do long after the feeling you said you do it in has left you. Ladies, I hope this has been an amazing and an effective time together. Again, I am so excited to even share with you all on today my passion on really just developing strategies to become more self-disciplined. That 5-point power plan is amazing. It helps you to look at your now. It helps you to look at your history so that you can walk fully in your destiny.
Wow, that's been incredible. I would say let's give her a hand, but that doesn't make any sense. I feel like that's what we should do right now. I feel like that, but we know that's not the case. But Dr. Ellison, thank you. This has been such good information, and I want you, because it has reignited some things for me in terms of, like you said, I think the thing that stuck out and resonated with me very deeply with what you were saying was reevaluate how you're showing up every day. Because I've said that to myself, well, Rachel, it's your daily decisions that determine your destiny. But, you know, really, really, when we want things from God, to whom much is given, much is required. How are you showing up? And we want God to give us more, but more means more. If we want more, it requires more. Like you said, you want a 6-figure business, you want $1 million, you want to be a millionaire. Do you have the systems in place? Some people get $1 million. Lotto winners get $1 million, but they don't have the systems in place to keep $1 million.
No.
And so some of the time, that when we talk about our blessings and our breakthroughs, some of the time, and not all of this is not an absolute statement, but we haven't received it because God knows we don't have the structure in place in order to maintain the blessing. And one thing that God is, he's so good, is that sometimes it's not even about him not giving it to us at all, but sometimes he doesn't want to give it to us too soon, because he knows certain blessings of a certain magnitude would crush you under the weight of that blessing.
And you know, and to add to that, Rachel, too, sometimes he don't do it for his namesake.
For his namesake. Listen. That's a good one. Now that right there.
Sometimes he don't do it for his namesake.
Yeah.
Because he knows it's for his namesake, for his glory. So if it manifests in you and it's before time, prematurely, then here it is, people say, oh, I thought he's never going to mess up his namesake. See, that's why Saul got dethroned, because you now messing with my namesake.
On that note.
And we have to be very careful too of how we carry our destiny. People ask me quickly, what's self-discipline? Yeah. Doing the dirty work when everybody else just want to see the outcome. You are in the dirty work. You're in the trenches. You are not giving up things. You are going in a way so further in a way that you're giving up is the go up. Like, you're so much in tune with where God has you. What it is that you're willing to sacrifice? What is it that you're willing to do the boring work? See, nobody wants to do the paperwork, and nobody wants to do all that kind of stuff. And, you know, we can write down ideas and this is what we want to do. But when it starts to talk about full discipline to produce it, it's dirty. It's grimy. Yeah. No one sees it. And you don't get no likes for discipline.
You don't get like that. You don't get likes for that. So, wow. So, Dr. Ellison, tell us more. I'm going to have some, I'm going to have some links to your websites and stuff like that, and to your
Okay.
social media in the comments below the video in the membership area. But can you tell them just real quickly how they can stay in touch with you and how they can take part in some of your programs? Because I know you have a few things going on, some consistently, some are, throughout different times throughout the year. So that's why I'm going to link your information so they can just keep up with everything you have going on.
Okay.
But can you tell them how they can stay in touch with you?
Definitely. You can definitely go social media. For Facebook, it's Dr. Kimberly Ellison, and on Instagram, it's Dr. Kimberly Ellison. So definitely go there, because we post every day about the different things that we have going on. And then drkimberlyellison.com or Corporate Jewel, PWC.com, to actually sign up for programs or to learn a little bit more about the work that we do and whom we serve and how we actually show up every day in our business and even in ministry. So social media is always a great way to stay connected. Any classes, registration is always on social media, and we link it again to our sites. So typically that would be a great way to connect.
Awesome. Awesome. Any parting words before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I just want to encourage the ladies that are going to be a part of this masterclass. It's easier to give up than it is to remain disciplined. And so I just always say, when you show up for your future, you'll show up consistently. Like, that's my biggest thing, is be the grandest version of the greatest vision you've ever seen of yourself.
Wow. Well, thank you, Dr. Ellison. We're going to, unfortunately, have to wrap it up. But like I said, ladies, if you know that this has been a sore spot for you, and maybe something Dr. Ellison said stirred something up within you, I want you to connect with her in terms of that, because I just believe, and I've always been this way, and I thank God for him giving me the propensity to not have a scarcity mentality as it pertains to, oh, this person, these people are on my platform or in my, membership. I don't want to, no, I need you. I believe that certain people carry certain anointings.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Ellison is definitely anointed to help pull you out of those areas, in terms of, because she's done it in my own life, in those areas where you struggle in terms of self-discipline, you struggle in terms of strategy, you struggle in terms of living beneath who you really are in the kingdom, because that's her mindset. And I believe that God has placed a special anointing on her. So I'm encouraging you to connect with her, attend some of her programs, follow her online, listen to some of the things that she has to say in terms of this area, especially as it pertains to the area of self-discipline and just getting your mind right. I know, and just to put the things in context, at the time of this recording, we're going through the pandemic with the coronavirus. So a lot of people are very fearful about the future, but I just believe that we serve a God who is not somewhere caught off guard. And all of this is going to be a thing that God is going to use to put his glory on display. And so I hear a lot of people that are talking about the fearful side of what is happening. But again, I want you to get connected with her and get back on top of those goals that you have put on the back burner. Those things that you have not been giving the time and the commitment to, that you know that God has fashioned your hands to do. I want you to connect with her. To be able to get those things off of the back burner, because at the end of the day, we only have so much time, and we've talked about that. And sometimes we say, well, what's for me is for me, and it won't pass me by. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. And sometimes there are short windows that God will allow you to take part in. And to catch that mantle and to catch that blessing. If Elisha had not caught Elijah as he was passing, there was a short window for him to catch that mantle, if he would have waited and paused and looked at the ox and looked at all the stuff that was behind him and talked about the what ifs and the uncertainties and the this, he would have missed that opportunity to catch on to the mantle. And I feel like I'm preaching right now. But I just want you all
it hit me, so I'm good. Keep going.
I just want you all to be aware that I've never been one to, like I said, most of my events and my platforms, I want other women that have specific anointings in certain areas. I can't be everything for everybody. I don't want that kind of pressure.
No, that's a lot.
That kind of pressure to feel like I have the answers to everything you're going through. I'm not Holy Ghost Junior.
That's a whole problem. If you got the answer to what everybody going through, that's a whole
everybody going through. It's certain areas that I struggle with, but then there are certain areas where I know that God has anointed me. I have an anointing in certain areas, but I know this one particular thing, Dr. Ellison has an anointing in that area to speak into your life in terms of bringing out those things that were once dead and to bring them back out, and to breathe life into your vision. So I want you guys to connect with her. And I know I've said that and I keep saying that, but I feel just as strongly about it. And so we're going to wrap it up. But like I said, you'll have the ways to connect with her and all of that. And so thank you again, Dr. Ellison.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you again for being here and doing this for us. And we're going to wrap it up. But ladies, like I said, you'll have this copy to watch it as many times as you need to watch it to get it down on your spirit, as far as what the Lord is saying through her about self-discipline and planning and strategy. So thank you again, ladies. I will see you over in the next lesson. God bless. Love you all.